Okay, welcome back. So in this particular video, what we're going to do is we're going to finish up um, our routing here. And so, to ship this board out, we really need to clean up the silk screen so that things aren't hanging over the board. If you recall from last time, when we get here's our board here where we left off. When we go over to this side, you'll see that there's all kinds of writing that's kind of going in weird ways here. This crystal has this big long text string. These reference designators aren't really in the right spot. I've got silk screen for these test points. I don't need those. So let's go and clean this up. We've got this battery thing here that is coming over these pins. Let's go and fix this. They will clean this up for you at the board house. In other words, they'll just basically carve out where you've got those reference designators, where those things, come across pads. They'll just be windowed out. But let's, for a more professional job, let's go ahead and fix all that stuff. So I'm going to come back over here to the board. Now, what we need to do to really do this job effectively, we got to get some stuff out of the way because right now our view is just occluded with all kinds of obstruction. So let's first go and let's turn off this polygon pour, this ground plane. So if you go up to polygon and you go to hide all polygon pour fills, you'll see what it does is it turned it into an outline. It's still there. We haven't gotten rid of it, but it's gone. Now this is still pretty busy in here. So what I want to do is I want to create a layer set. So a layer set that just has the stuff that's relevant to this particular job. All right. So this job of sorting out. Now you've already got some layer. If I were to select routable layers, it'll show me just that. If I wanted to, unused layers, there they are, or used layers, there those are. So you can create layer sets to do anything. So I'm going to come into this little dialog here, and I'm going to pop this open. I'm going to add a layer, and I'm going to call it, well, I've already got it here. So I created this earlier. Maybe you don't need to watch me do it. But I created this thing called Silk Bottom. And Silk Bottom has the bottom copper, it has the pads, it has the vias, and it has the place and the names turned on. So if I wanted to add, say, let's say I wanted to add B values here, I would just click on it, and there it is. And I can get rid of that. So I can add these custom layer sets, and that makes it really nice because now I can just, if I come up here and I say all layers, and then I come back to Silk Bottom, now I've just got just the layers that are relevant. So I can start to see where these little pluses are related to this text. So I want to move this stuff around. So my first target of change here is going to be to get rid of this big long string, this big long value string. Probably down the road I want to clean that out of the library so I don't have to do this every time. But I'm going to go in at that, and I'm going to go ahead and hide it. So I'm going to, just to make my job a little bit easier here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and say I want just I just want the B place and B names, and then I just want to get text at this point. So it'll just make selecting a little easier here. I'm sorry, maybe I'll just get everything here. So I can see these pluses here. So I'm going to grab a hold of that plus, and I'm going to right click and get the properties. And I'm going to come down here to the display of that, and I'm just going to turn it off. And so I'll apply that, and wham, it just goes away. And so that's what I want. I don't want that to be around. I'm going to do the same thing for this test point here, properties, display off, and I'll apply that. And then I'll come over here to this other test point. Where is it? I'll do that with this battery label too. Properties, and I'll just turn that off. What other? I want to get this test point right here, and I'll turn it off. Okay. So I'll go ahead and start moving these around. So I'm going to put it into move mode, and then we'll just grab grab this. Something like this. I may want to use Alt to kind of move it just the way I want it. I don't like that. I'm going to rotate it. And so this will become, a matter of personal preference for you. You can decide kind of how much time you want to spend on this. How perfect it needs to be to satisfy you or your customer if you're doing this for somebody else. I think what you really want to do is kind of avoid, to the extent possible, avoid this hitting copper. So, we'll put it over here, something like that. If we can get this off of any copper at all, it'll be the best looking sort of job if you can just keep it clear of copper. Certainly vias, holes or vias where the paint will just get sucked down in the hole. Something along, something like that. And then we put this like that, and this like that. All right, I think that does it. So let's go ahead and save this. Okay. And then let's go ahead and push that to the 3D PCB and we'll go look at it. I found that it's really handy to be able to look at stuff on this. Probably I need to go and maybe clean up what's on this top side here. That looks better. A little less junk. I'd say this will be good enough for a prototype, right? This is probably not perfect, but it's good enough. Let's go ahead and I would say maybe move this label. So let's go over and we'll make ourselves a topside silk as well. So we can go ahead and make that change on the top side. So I'm going to make a layer set that's analogous to this so you can see that done. So I'll do a plus and I'll make myself a silk top layer. And what we'll add is the top, and we'll add pads, vias, T-place, and T-names. All right, and so let's come up here and turn on all layers, and oh, it didn't save it. Okay. For some reason, that may be a bug in the tool. Anyway, let's go to preset top, and let's go ahead and we'll just use theirs. I don't know why my new one's not showing up. Let me go over here just real quick and take a look. I don't know. I don't know why it's not. Anyway, we got a handle on it here. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna grab this and put it right there. All right. The other thing I might want to do is I might want to put some sort of a label on this board just to make it, personalize it here. So I know in a version number so that I know, these boards oftentimes look a lot alike. So let's go ahead and add a document and we'll go ahead and in the draw, we'll draw some text and we're going to draw it on the T-place layer, and so we'll add some text. I'm going to call it IU Embedded Systems R001, and then we'll drop that down. We'll say done. All right, so there you go. So let's go ahead and edit this to properties, and so maybe I'll make this right in the middle. Yeah, there we go. All right, so I've got a version number. I've got whatever. You can start to get pretty fancy here if you depending on what you're trying to accomplish. This is good enough for this level of board. Definitely the version number. You want to keep track of that. All right, so let's go and let's push this to the 3D PCB. And it'll fix that silk that's on the top, hopefully. And there's that. The silks look good. Let's come over to this side. Those silks look passable, at least for what we're doing here. Okay, so let's go ahead and save it. Okay. Let's go ahead over to our enclosure and take a quick look at it. Let's go ahead. We've got these little yellow triangles. Let's click on those. Let's go ahead and do an update. So there's our board in the enclosure. Spin it around. Kind of looked at this earlier, but that's good enough. I think that for now, I think this is good. This would be something that we might want to just go ahead and cut loose. So okay, so let's go ahead and save this. All right. Okay, so I think we'll stop there in this video, and then in the next video, what we'll do is I'll take you through the process of, well, how do you get from this, get from our board that we've designed over to, something like Osh Park, or, you choose your own vendor, whatever that is. I tend to use Advanced Circuits for some things. I use Osh for some things. I've used Seed Studios for some things. It just depends on what I've used eTechNet is another one that I've used that are pretty good. But everybody's got their, each one of these companies has their own little niche. So you decide which one's best for what you're trying to do. If you want things to be, stuffed in your board, maybe advanced, or somebody like Macrofab is the way to go. That's a whole set of, sort of exploring what the different manufacturing options are. I'm just going to show you how to do it in Osh. It's a real simple, sort of inexpensive way to do it. All right, so that's it for this one. We'll pick this up and we'll try to get this thing ordered.